Now is my colleague and my friend, Rachel Maddow. Rachel, thank you for the privilege of your time. Let's start with this. The Trump administration 2.0 started with the pardoning of the January 6th insurrectionists. It's been roiled with economic turmoil. And just a few days ago, we witnessed federal authorities arresting a Wisconsin judge and a retired New Mexico judge for allegedly interfering with the Trump administration's immigration enforcement efforts. I mean, Rachel, is it fair to say that we've crossed the Rubicon now?
Yeah, I feel like the Rubicon has a lot of tributaries, and we cross a new one every day. I mean,
That's fair.
First of all, Katie, let me just say it's an honor to be here with you today, and I'm very, very, very sad that this is the last Katie Fang show in a million different ways, and I'm really going to miss working with you every day as a colleague. But I will not miss being your friend, because that will continue, and we will be working together again in the future. I am absolutely sure. Let me just say, I mean, the 100 days, there's never been a president who has botched the first 100 days of his presidency more than Donald Trump has. And you don't have to take that as a subjective view. It's the view shown in scientific polling of the American public. The public is deeply, deeply, deeply against what Trump is doing. The Pew poll that came out this week, he's minus 19 points underwater in terms of his approval rating. If you ask the American people about what they feel about his handling of every single issue that you can poll on, he's underwater on every single one of them. And so he's been very radical in his first 100 days, and I think we knew that would be true, but I don't think we'd know that he would turn the American public, including a large portion of his own base, against him so quickly. The public would be willing again and again and again to go protest and say no and rise up against him, that he would fare so uniformly disastrously in court. He's just been clobbered in the court in dozens and dozens and dozens of cases already. So it's been a real, he's really flailed. It doesn't change his radicalism, but I think that's really the story of the first 100 days, is his failure and the American public saying no to him.
And, you know, Rachel, I see the failure, and I read the polls, too, and I have healthy skepticism when it comes to polls, but I do see them, right? And if there's consistency in those polls, then the common denominator probably is true. But I have to ask you, was there some profound failure of imagination on our part that we did not reasonably anticipate how effective Trump and his cabal of doers would be? And the reason why I say that is they destroy, they wreak havoc, and they cause so much damage. And then they're told that's illegal. They're told you can't do that. They're told that that is wrong. And we see that, right? But the damage has been done. And then you have people like U.S. citizens that are now being held in prisons. I mean, it's these types of things that really make me wonder, did we, again, have a failure of imagination?
You said, I actually look at it, I think, the other way around. I feel like the kind of pundit common wisdom heading into Trump's second term was that the comparison with the first term, or the difference with the first term, was going to be that he was going to be more efficient. He was going to be better at doing what he wanted to do, and that's what we should brace ourselves for. And I actually don't think that's the way it's worked out. I think that he is definitely more ambitious in terms of the kind of radical change he wants for the country. I do think we're in the middle of an attempted authoritarian overthrow of American democracy. I mean, I think everybody who predicted that was right, but I don't think he's any better at it. I mean, you just think about the litany of mistakes, things that they acknowledge even are mistakes. Remember, right out of the gate, they tried to cut off all federal grants for everything. And then within 48 hours, had to take that back and say they didn't mean that. Remember Trump's big thing about, like, I've turned on the water in California. And immediately the Army Corps of Engineers was like, yeah, you just wasted all of the water that we had saved in reservoirs for the summer season. You know, the failure, the accidentally firing the Ebola prevention workers, accidentally firing the nuclear weapons people, accidentally firing the bird flu people, all of this stuff that they have done and then undone. It does reflect their radicalism and their ability and willingness to just destroy. But they haven't done a lot of it on purpose. They've done a lot of it despite themselves. And their incompetence is not a blessing. A lot of people glibly say like, oh, you should have enemies that are this incompetent. They'll fall down. You don't have to trip them. But their failure has been a wreckage, has created wreckage in the U.S. government. It just means that they're not that good at doing what they're actually trying to do.
And you've been incredibly thoughtful on your show in these first 100 days to highlight what it is for an everyday American to take ownership of their voice and do something with it, whether it's going to a rally, whether it's going to a town hall, whether it's calling Congress, state and federal, by the way, their representatives. What is it going to take for the next 100 days, if we're going to look at it in tranches, right? What's it going to take for the next 100 days and the following months? Because it is a 4-year term.
Yeah, it's a really good question, Katie. And, I think the other thing I was talking about, sort of what the pundit class got wrong heading into Trump's second term. I think there was, again, a kind of pundit common wisdom or kind of observer common wisdom that the American people weren't going to resist, weren't going to stand up, that there was no sign of the kind of mass resistance to what Trump is doing. Well, that's turning out not to be the case at all. It's just different this time. There wasn't one big rally the way there was in 2017, right around Trump's inauguration. What we've got is every single day, literally every single day, dozens of protests all over the country, including in small towns and in red states, against stuff that Trump is doing. I mean, I've been covering protests in places like Boise, Idaho, and Morgantown, West Virginia, and Little Rock, Arkansas, every single day on my show. We have had more than 100,000 people turn out simultaneously in multiple cities on a couple of different occasions. And the protest movement that has been turning people out for these huge days of protest, like on April 5th and on April 19th, we're going to see another one this week on May 1st. Those protest movements are designed not just to turn out a bunch of people and in surprising places, but to turn them out again and again and again and again. And millions of Americans have now protested against this president in a way that is not a one-off deal, in a way that they have shown that they're willing to come out again and again. And so I think that's going to be the lesson of the 100 days, is people turning out. You're already seeing Republicans telling their constituents at town halls or anytime they're speaking, no, I'm not going to go ahead with those Medicaid cuts. No, I don't agree with a lot of what Doge and Musk have done. No, I promise I'll stand up for Social Security and I'll keep our field office open even though Trump wants to close it. I mean, you're seeing Republicans have to resist because of their own constituents telling them no, and them finding it indefensible to try to stand on Trump's side for so many of these things. And that's going to be, that momentum is going to be the story of the second 100 days and beyond. Their incompetence, their inability to defend what they're doing, and the American people in a louder and louder and more intense way just telling them, nope, you're not doing it.
Rachel Maddow, there's a saying, they say, don't meet your heroes.
No.
But I got to meet one of mine. I want to thank you, my friend, for always inspiring me to just be better in everything that I am doing. And I am grateful of all the things that I've had in terms of the blessings that I've been here. It's been being able to spend time with you. So thank you, Rachel, for everything. I appreciate you
Katie,
so much.
It is mutual, and I have learned as much from you as you have from me. And I know that we have got work together in our future. And I'm so proud to call you a colleague and a